Welcome, Gemini rising signs of the zodiac, to your September horoscope. I'm Cosmic Girl. Trust you're doing well, and thank you for joining me here. So, we're going to talk about the planets in transits, the two eclipses in this video because we're in eclipse season, and the equinox and what it all means for you as a Gemini rising sign. But before we get into all the astrology and planets in transits for you, we're going to talk about your chart ruler, Mercury, first. So, Mercury has been transiting in Leo in your natal third house. And this month, on the 2nd, actually, quite quickly, straight out of the gate, we have your chart ruler Mercury ingressing into your natal fourth house. So it's an angular part of your natal chart. So it'll be quite a significant transit for you, but it's going to be a really quick one. Mercury's at top speed will be in your natal fourth house of home, family, and domestic life from the 2nd of September to the 18th, and then quickly moves into the natal fifth house. So, astrologically speaking, looking ahead at the month with your chart ruler moving very quickly, there's going to be a lot of change going on. So make sure you're looking after yourself, self care, make sure you're getting lots of nutrition, plenty of rest, plenty of time out because the month of September is particularly busy. In fact, August for you as a Gemini rising sign may have been quite busy as well. And this month is no different. So, self care is the key to keep on keeping on in this wonderful life of ours. So, your chart ruler Mercury is winding up its transit in Leo in your natal third house, which is your community, short distance travel, education, siblings, extended family members. So, things that you integrate with on the daily. There's been a lot of activity there in Leo, and now your chart ruler on the 2nd is settling into the natal fourth house. And that's going to be quite a dynamic shift. So when your chart ruler Mercury moves into a different natal house, then those topics and subjects become your focus. And it indicates, with the natal fourth house being an angular part of your natal chart, that this transit of Mercury from the 2nd of September to the 18th is going to be quite an important one for you. Okay, so now let's talk astrology. And it's a lot in the month of September. So let's get into it, Gemini rising signs. Okay, let's talk about Mars. Mars is a planet of passion and aggression and action, and is interested in pursuing its heart's desire. It will bulldoze through a like a bull in a china shop and really doesn't care about the collateral damage it leaves behind. That's Mars. Mars just goes for it. He's that masculine planet that we all need. If we didn't have Mars, we wouldn't get out of bed and get going. But this transit of Mars in Libra, Mars stepped into your natal fifth house on the 25th of August and will be in your natal fifth house until the 22nd of September. So Mars aggressively pursuing passion with intimacy, sex, fertility, pregnancy, creativity, artistic endeavors, joy, fun, excitement. Mars is aggressively trying to bring that to the Gemini rising signs. But how is that actually going? Mars is in detriment in Libra, not functioning very well. So if you are trying to get things balanced and just right with things that bring so much pleasure and excitement to your heart chakra, I would imagine for the Gemini rising signs, it's been a push to get balance and get things just right. But after the 22nd of September, things will settle down. But until then, it's all about delegation, talking it out, trying to get some sort of justice and balance that brings you a sense of peace and harmony. So it can be a push to just naturally enjoy life, sex and fun with Mars in Libra, but it will settle down after the 22nd of September. But until then, Mars's function primarily is to cut out things that are perceived as fun. We want to quickly get to the heart of the matter. when Mars is in the natal fifth house are things that we are glossing over, we're being too giving, and Mars is going, that's enough. You've got to be able to have balance here. So you may also be experiencing a bit of a sobering checking in point regarding, does intimacy, joy, and pleasure come to you organically, or are you constantly pushing for it, trying to create harmony? And Mars here is simply saying, well, that's enough of overextending and losing yourself to pleasure and joy that is not organically available. So you could be in a position until the 22nd of September of weighing up the pros and cons of anything that brings you excitement, and cutting out and cutting away from things that siphon your energy. Life is meant to be enjoyed in the natal fifth house, and Mars is simply saying to you, as a Gemini rising sign, it's fine to aggressively pursue things that you love, but to what cost are you losing yourself? So Mars is very good at showing you in a very, very practical way. Look at things from an intellectual perspective here. Does that natal fifth house of sex, intimacy, pregnancy, dating, romance, creativity have the intellectual love and balance that you deserve? The social component. Are you feeling socially disconnected from enjoyment? Big transit with Mars in Libra until the 22nd of September. Okay, let's talk about Saturn. Now, Saturn is such a interesting planet in astrology. Saturn has a lot of history behind it. Saturn is about time, legacy, structure. Saturn has a lot of patience. Saturn is the task master. If we want it, we're going to have to work for it. That is Saturn. And on the 1st of September, Saturn is retrograding back into your natal 10th house of career, public achievements, and anything of an official capacity, asking you these questions. How bad do you want it? What is it about your public name and identity that you would like to stick, or what needs to be eliminated and crumbled away to give you a new line of sight when it comes to your professional industry and anything of an official capacity? It's an important transit for you, with Saturn retrograding back into the natal 10th house, which is an angular part of your natal chart. This 5-month transit of Saturn in Pisces is nothing to sneeze at. So Saturn on November 27 will go direct at 25 degrees and won't be ingressing back into your natal 11th house of Aries until February 14 next year, and will stay put in your natal 11th house till April 12, 2028. So let's talk about what you might be experiencing astrologically with Saturn going back for 5 months in your natal 10th house of achievements. Well, Saturn's certainly bringing to you as a Gemini rising signs a lot of questions, a lot of responsibilities that are needed to keep on keeping on in your chosen industry. What is it about your chosen industry that has history behind it, that creatively and emotionally fuels your soul? And if anything at all feels off, feels too heavy, too dense, like you're spreading yourself too thin, you're over sacrificing, Saturn is going to give you an opportunity to cut the dead weight, move on with grace, and pursue something that is going to be of more substance for you. So, this can be the proverbial beginning of the end of a process of elimination regarding anything to do with responsibility, official, anything to do with your professional industry is going through a significant adjustment point. And with that, you get options. Are you staying? and holding a line? Are you prepared to dig your heels in and keep on keeping on regarding your public name and professional arena? Or are you ready to plan an exit strategy? Saturn here is certainly going to lay it on thick for you, but with a heaviness and a density. You get to choose if it's good for you, does it nourish you, or does it siphon you? So it's going to be quite a 5 month period for the Gemini rising signs regarding what responsibilities are yours and yours alone, and what isn't, and what is too overwhelming and overbearing that's stopping and blocking your professional direction. Interesting transit with Saturn for 5 months in your natal 10th house. We also have from the 1st to the 30th, so the whole month, we've got Uranus, which is in your first house, trining Pluto retrograde, and Uranus is also sextiling Neptune. Neptune is sextiling Pluto. So all the outer generational planets are in sextiles and trines in flow. Uranus on the 6th of September will too go into a retrograde. So, what does this mean for the Gemini rising signs? All these outer generational planets are in flow and in harmony. So, what you can expect astrologically is hints, little serendipitous moments of opportunity for expansion and growth and new starts. And it's interesting how Saturn back in your natal 10th house is sort of bringing you options like, do you want to stay or do you want to go? And for the whole month, these outer generational planets in trines and sextiles are sort of bringing Gemini rising signs exit doors or opportunities for expansion and growth that can take you in a new direction at the same time while you're probably adjusting and flexing on a dime with responsibility and your career at the same time. So it's an interesting month with the outer generational planets sort of bringing Gemini rising signs new hints on how to engage in a new future for yourself while you're still navigating the past. So it's a very interesting astrological month for the Gemini rising signs. There's lots of food for thought, but when you have a serendipitous conversation that feels like an aha moment, don't overlook that. Maybe the planets are bringing you some intel that really can feel like feathers in your cap being accumulated for getting out of a tight bind. Very, very interesting month. On the second, we now have your chart ruler Mercury ingressing into your natal fourth house. So, topics such as home, family, real estate, ancestry, your domestic life, the foundations in our life that set us on a path, which is a lot to do with our history and our heritage and lineage. So, these topics and subjects are a focus from the 2nd of September till the 18th. You also have the sun transiting here until the 22nd of the month. So, this transit, you may be starting new starts in the home or new starts for family members. There can be a lot of travel in and out of the home. You could be more involved with the family with this transit with your chart ruler in the natal fourth house. So, your home and domestic life comes into sharp focus from the 2nd to the 18th. So, this is a really good transit to nut out any nuances that need to be delegated, talked about, especially anything to do with finances, travel plans, or real estate and property that has been glossed over or overlooked. This is a fantastic transit for selling or buying real estate. This is also an opportunity to spruce up the home, maybe spend more time decorating or loving on your furnishings, maybe wanting to redecorate. Maybe you want to connect with family members more. Maybe you're ready to research your ancestry kind of transit. With your chart ruler Mercury functioning very well in Virgo in the natal fourth house with the sun. This can also be about fathers or father figures in the home that is in focus until the 18th of the month. Big transit. Mercury's doing really well though. And because it's your chart ruler, things that you do in private to do with your home and domestic life, real estate property, your lineage, excuse me, and ancestry. These topics and subjects are going to be easy to navigate. So if you need to get on top of anything that needs to be dealt with in the home or the home life or with fathers or being an authority in your home life, this is the transit to get cracking. Really quite nice for the Gemini rising signs with Mercury in the natal fourth house. On the third, we have Mars squaring off with Jupiter and your chart ruler Mercury squaring off with Uranus. So, this is Big Questions Day. This can be a lot of flooding in the mind going round and round and round on the 3rd of September. So, this is about talking it out, communicating, and being prepared to flex and adapt on a dime on the 3rd of September. And it may factor into conversations or communication about finances, your livelihood, home life, and your plans for the future. So there can be a lot of action going on the third and can feel a little overwhelming. So easy does it on the third when you feel like you're spinning your wheels in trying to take some sort of affirmative action that is impacting your home life, finances, and what you're ready to begin and create more freedom and movement for yourself. Interesting day on the third. On the 7th of September, we have our first eclipse of the month, and this one is a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces in your natal 10th house of career, achievement, your public name and identity, and anything of an official capacity. So there's a ripe moment here. It's a full moon, but it is an eclipse. And this is a closing out of a chapter of a significant achievement. So, what does this mean astrologically when we have a full moon lunar eclipse for you as a Gemini rising sign in your natal 10th house? Well, this is an eclipse that is quite potent and powerful. And when it's in the natal 10th house, it's something that you have been striving for to solidify, that is now showing the fruits of your labor for better or worse. And when you have a peak moment of this is it, then it now releases that energy and brings a close to a very long story and chapter that you have been involved with for some time. With a full moon lunar eclipse in your natal 10th house, this can be a passing on of a baton regarding responsibility, your career, or your actual professional industry is going through a big change. You may also experience a cathartic releasing of something emotional regarding the home, your family life, domestic life, or anything that you deal with in private is now going through a shift and change that impacts your public name and life, your career direction, and anything to do with your worldly achievements. Quite some full moon lunar eclipse for you on the 7th of September. On the 12th of September, we have Jupiter sextiling the Sun and Mercury, your chart ruler. So, Jupiter is bringing to the home and your family and your domestic life some sort of soothing balm or tonic regarding finances, assets, possessions, and things that are of value. So, this can be an upgrade in finances that can help you relocate or iron out any nuances regarding your home and domestic life. Looks quite positive on the 12th for financial news or something about your livelihood is benefiting your actual home life and things that you integrate with behind closed doors. That looks really nice on the 12th. The next day on the 13th, your chart ruler is conjuncting the sun in that natal fourth house of home and family. And this is what we call a kazemi. So your chart ruler, the Mercury, is in the heart of the sun. Now, the sun is the ruler of Leo, your natal third house, which is community, siblings, extended family members, travel, and education. So, what's going on here on the 13th is a plan to start something new that is going to open up your horizons, whether that is getting into a new community, learning something new, traveling somewhere new, maybe a new car, maybe something of a significant purchase that is going to improve your domestic life or your home life. This is also quite beneficial with your chart ruler conjuncting the sun on the 13th to plan to start something new in the home life or with real estate and property. Quite the day on the 13th when you are granted the solar light of yes, optimism, and enthusiasm. Beautiful astrology on the 12th, 13th, and even the 14th. On the 14th, we have Venus sextiling Mars. So when we have the two cosmic lovers playing nice, we all get a day of exhale, flow, and harmony. So, with Venus bringing Mars, peace, harmony, unity, and love, this day can be the day where it can be some powerful DMs. Something is brewing in regards to lighting up your house of joy and pleasure. So this can be a turnaround on the 14th that really does lift your spirits. Venus is sextiling Mars. So Venus wants to bring Mars something. So there is something in your community to do with travel, education, siblings, extended family members that want to bring harmony to things that you create and things that you enjoy. This can be an invitation, this can be a gift that really does lift your spirits on the 14th of September. Enjoy. Moving on to the 17th, Mercury, your chart ruler, is opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So this is your natal 10th house and 4th house in conflict here. So this is home and private life versus your career and public life. And when there's an opposition, it's just like, oh, do I tell my boss what's going on? Do I reveal to the world what's going on behind closed doors kind of day? So there can be like a pressure point here on the 17th. Do I, don't I? Um, do I tell the family that I'm relocating? Do I tell the family I'm moving? Or do I tell the boss that everything's okay when I'm really not? I'm going to work crying all the time. So it can be quite difficult to keep the home life and the public life in some sort of balance. There's a tension here on the 17th for you to navigate. On the 18th, your chart ruler Mercury now ingresses into Libra, into your natal fifth house until October 6th. Now, this is a really good transit with your chart ruler in the house of sex, intimacy, pregnancy, children, romance, creativity, fun and joy, risk. What a lively transit from the 18th to the 6th of October. So, your focus is on where's the fun and joy. Mars is here until the 22nd and we'll move on. So Mars has given you plenty of food for thought in what's fair and just when it comes to fun and how you're going to get some balance and harmony. And here comes your chart ruler Mercury, ready to engage in conversation, delegation, communicating very well about your heart's desire and what brings you excitement. So, a really nice transit when your chart ruler gets into Libra from the 18th of September to October 6th. On the 18th, when Mercury does ingress into your fifth house, he immediately opposes Neptune retrograde. And so, again, this is, I want to do this. This brings me so much joy and pleasure, and I don't want to share it with anyone kind of day. So if friends are going, oh, let's plan this trip, let's go here, or, let's start this new adventure, you might be a little gun shy in revealing your plans. So easy does it on the 18th, excuse me, if people are acting a little confused. What's going on? Why aren't you wanting to play with us or do some sort of fun, excitement thing with friends or social connections? It could be because you're keeping things close to your chest and you've got bigger fish to fry kind of day on the 18th. So might be difficult to say no to social invitations on the 18th, and that's simply because you know where your bread is buttered. Oh, yes, astrology and the planets in transits, they're the gift that keeps on giving. On the 19th, we have another big day astrologically. Let's talk about these individually. So, let's talk about Venus, the planet of love and relationships and harmony and beauty and all things that are wonderful. Venus is now ingressing into your natal fourth house, where your chart ruler spent some time this month. And Venus will be in your natal fourth house until October 13th. Venus traditionally is in fall. So Venus is a little bit nervous in Virgo. She just wants to have fun. And Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, says, oh, well, we need to talk things out and get down to brass tacks. And Venus is like, oh, I just want to enjoy and bring everything and everyone together. Can't we just love each other up? Whereas your chart ruler, Mercury, goes, absolutely. But I want to intellectualize why this is so much fun. So it's an interesting transit with Venus in your natal fourth house from the 19th of September to October 13th. But I like it. Now, Venus may be in fall and trying her very best to make your home and domestic life beautiful and harmonious and in balance and feel all loving. And Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, your chart ruler, is in Venus, the sign of rulership, which is Libra, in that natal fifth house of joy and pleasure. So Venus may be in fall from the 19th until October 13th, but your chart ruler is in Venus, the sign of rulership, in the fifth house of joy and pleasure. So your home life and things that bring you joy and pleasure are not going to be too much of a push or a reach to access. It's not going to be completely perfect, your domestic and home life with real estate and property within the family, but it's certainly not going to be terrible because Mercury, the ruler of the fourth, is in the fifth, which is all about sex and fun and excitement and adventure and children and let's just enjoy life kind of house. So, all in all, I think the 19th to the 13th of October looks pretty good astrologically for enjoying your home and domestic life, preparing your abode with excitement and fun. So, you're ready to bring in more intimacy and connection in the home, whether that's making a relationship official or deciding to expand on the family, or your family life is growing with Venus in the natal fourth house, ruled by Mercury in the fifth of children, sex, intimacy, partnerships, and creativity. So, all in all, I think the transit's not too harsh with Venus in fall in Virgo in your natal fourth house. But it's an important one. Again, it's the angular part of your chart, the fourth house. So, this is going to be a pretty lively transit for you. And Mercury, your chart ruler in Libra sign, doing really well. Looks pretty good astrologically from my perspective for you as a Gemini rising with Venus in the fourth house. On the 19th, we also have your chart ruler Mercury trining retrograde Uranus and Pluto retrograde. And so I like this for planning trips, planning to learn something, really bringing back in more faith and belief that, yeah, life is exciting. Yeah, life is good. I can begin new things that are optimistic and inspiring. Great day on the 19th for recharging your batteries and enjoying this thing we call life. Really nice on the 19th. The next day on the 20th, we have Uranus in your first house of your body, your identity, your health, new beginnings. Uranus, the planet of liberation and freedom, is squaring off with Venus in the natal fourth house of home and family, your domestic life. So the 20th can be quite challenging because with Uranus sort of urging you to explore and liberate yourself and go in new directions, it can be hard because of relationships in the home or responsibilities in your domestic life. So the 20th can be a day of, ugh, I really want to do this. I'm ready to fire on all cylinders, but there's something within the home that is preventing you from moving forward organically. So deep breaths on the 20th when it may feel like everything's hard to go your way. It'll pass. And we also have on the 20th the sun in your natal fourth house of home and family is now opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces again. This can be quite challenging. The sun, the ruler of Leo, the third house, is really questioning responsibility. So the sun is our life force, and in your home life, your domestic life, real estate, property, where the sun just wants everything right. Again, now the sun is opposing Saturn. So the sun is like, ideally, my home life is wonderful, but why, oh, why am I feeling pressure from the outside world on my career? So it's complex astrology on the 20th. You want to do what you want to do, but something or someone in the home is really putting on the pressure, and pressures coming from the career and authority figures outside of the home. That all feels very overwhelming on the 20th. So deep breaths. It may not go as smooth as you planned with your well laid plans on the 20th of September. On the 21st, we have our second eclipse of September, and it is a new moon partial solar eclipse in Virgo in your natal fourth house, where there's been a lot of activity given. But it's a new moon and it's a solar eclipse. So, this is a potent new beginning. This could be to do with fathers, father figures, authority within the home, family, real estate, property, your domestic life is going through a brand new beginning from the 21st of September moving forward. And this will play out over 6 months. This new start is a game changer for the Gemini rising signs. New home, new way of moving about in the home, real estate and property is going through a big shift, a big, powerful change within your domestic sphere. Things that you deal with in private are going through a massive overhaul with a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo in your natal fourth house. So we're bringing in solar themes, fathers, father figures, responsibility, leadership, ownership of things that you deal with in private. So there's a big upgrade going on in the natal fourth house on the 21st of September. So new moons are just that. They're brand new beginnings. They're intimate, they're quiet. We don't see them. But with it being a solar new moon, it's again a potent omen that is quite powerful, optimistic, and has a sense of there's a new identity coming in. There's a new image, a new ideal being established within your domestic life, real estate, property, family, fathers, father figures, and your privacy. So, big shift on the 21st of September with a partial new moon solar eclipse in your fourth house, and it'll be playing out over the next 6 months. Big stuff going on behind closed doors for the Gemini rising signs. Moving on the next day on the 22nd, it is the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere and the beginning of the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere. So, for the next 3 months, we have a season change. It is time to bring in the new, and that is what the equinoxes herald. It is the path of the sun, and the sun is halfway through its journey of the zodiac. So, this is the point for the next 3 months where we're weighing things up, we're making big decisions, we are bringing in a reality that's going to change us in significant ways, especially around eclipse times when the equinoxes occur. So on the 22nd, we have the sun now leaving your natal fourth house. So the sun is off that angular part of your natal chart where there's been so much action with your home and private life. And now the sun is ingressing into Libra, into your natal fifth house, joining your chart ruler Mercury until the 22nd of October for 4 weeks. So home and family life is now being shifted into your fifth house of joy and pleasure and fun. The only caveat for 4 weeks with this transit is the sun is in fall. So the sun finds it really difficult to be optimistic, lively, and excited as much as it should be when it's in Aries where it's exalted in your natal 11th house of friends, excitement, social gatherings, and connections. So the sun takes a bit of a dip in energy for 4 weeks from the 22nd of September till the 22nd of October. So things that do bring you joy and pleasure, creativity, risk and excitement, sex, intimacy, children, pregnancy, romance. This is all going to be a bit of a push to keep on keeping up that energy level that you're doing your very best to create. So, with the sun, we're talking about the ideal life regarding excitement. And for 4 weeks, the ideal may not be coming into fruition without delegation, communication, and balance first. So we're adjusting and flexing here for 4 weeks regarding anything that gets your heart racing. On the same day, on the 22nd, we now see Mars leave your natal fifth house of Libra. Fantastic. Mars's dignity increases significantly. It's been in detriment in your natal fifth house and now is in domicile, where Mars functions really well in Scorpio in your natal sixth house from the 22nd of September to November 3rd. So, what does this astrologically mean for the Gemini rising signs with this transit? Well, Mars just loves being in Scorpio and it's in your natal sixth house. Remembering Mars's passion and aggression and going for it planet, it's energetic. It's got a lot of gumption behind it. It's determined. That is Mars. And when it's in your natal sixth house on the 22nd of September to November 3rd, this is getting on top of anything to do with your health, your vitality, services, your workplace, things that you do on the daily. Ha! They're not a push at all. You're firing on all cylinders here with Mars now in your sixth house. You're rolling up your sleeves and getting a job done. You're whistling while you work and you're cutting through any emotional, dragging attachments that do not fulfill you. So this is a fantastic transit, like a process of elimination of things that you endure on the daily that are laborious, slave-like, where you feel anchored. Well, now you're going to be very determined to detach emotionally from things that do stop and block your progress and your daily schedule and routine. So this is fantastic for out with the old, in with the new, of things that you tolerate that you know you've come to your wits' end about. So this can be getting rid of any services that you provide, whether that is you're constantly emotionally available for others, you're constantly holding up a fort for other people. This is where you go, enough is enough, and Mars goes, absolutely. You need something new, and that means getting rid of the dead wood that really does fixate and has a hold on you. So, Gemini rising signs with Mars in the natal sixth house, you're more than prepared to not put up with anything that stops and blocks your progression in life, especially to do with your health, your schedule, your daily routines. This is not a transit to be okay with being overlooked or unappreciated. You're definitely going to be more than emotionally aware of how your body responds in kind with people, places, and faces that you engage with on a daily. And when your body, heart, soul, and spirit is screaming at you, going, "This is wrong, this makes you feel irritated, this makes you feel emotionally drained," you're going to be more than capable of drawing very, very firm lines in the sand. An empowering transit with Mars in the natal sixth house. It's fantastic for getting new work or upping your game in your workplace to get a job done, more efficiency, and more authority over your daily routines in a professional capacity. Empowering transit with Mars in Scorpio in your natal sixth house from the 22nd of September till November 3rd. Enjoy it. Okay, moving on from the 23rd to the 25th. So for 2 days, we have an action packed sky. These planets and celestial bodies are so loud. Let's get into it. Mars is squaring Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde is trining the Sun. The Sun is opposed to Neptune retrograde, and the Sun is trining Uranus retrograde. That is so much going on in 2 days. Let's get down to it. Mars is in domicile, functioning very well in your natal sixth house of work, health, services. Anything you do on the daily is getting a serious upgrade. You're rolling your sleeves up, you're getting things done. You're on the improve. And Mars is well positioned here in that natal sixth house. And squares Pluto in your ninth house of foreigners, foreign places, academia, education, travel, your beliefs, and religion. So these 2 days with Mars in your natal sixth house, where Mars is functioning very, very well, is simply giving Pluto the bird, the hand, a hard no. So this can be quite the day when you're being challenged about the validity of what you're doing. Now, Mars is very strong, but so is Pluto. And in a square, this can be quite the day when what you are rolling your sleeves up and getting done, sorted, and executing your well laid plans with precision is being challenged. Are you doing the right thing? Do you need more education? Do you really believe that you can go the distance? This is shutting down noise kind of 2 days on the 23rd to the 25th. Saying no to naysayers, especially questioning the validity of what you're doing to improve your daily life. We also have Pluto trining the Sun. So, this again is doubling down the message of what brings you joy and pleasure. Oh, do you really think this can happen? Again, this is shutting down naysayers and holding a line kind of 2 days. Then the Sun is opposed to Neptune retrograde. And again, this is about the ideal life that I want to create that is amazing for me, that fills my heart and soul, is not going to be swayed by outside influences and conforming to society. Again, this is holding a line and being true to you, astrology. We also have the Sun trining Uranus retrograde in your natal first house. So this can feel like a couple of days on the 23rd to the 25th where everything and everyone is coming at you and challenging you. Do you really think that's what you should be doing? Do you really think you can do that? What about what you said you were going to do? What about our plans? This is all about You being okay with running your own race on the 23rd to the 25th of September. It's going to be a lot of you need to run with the status quo. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that kind of couple of days. But we have Mars in a very strong position in Scorpio. And things that you do on the daily, you know what you want, you know what you're doing. You're going through a process of elimination that's going to serve you very well. And when you have a challenge outside of you, the little voice in your head that goes, you really can't do it, you need to shut that stuff down really quickly because Mars in the sixth is a powerful position where you really are quite strong in getting a job done, getting your work life just right, getting the services and help that you need, getting your health absolutely in tip top shape, things that you do on the daily. You're going through a process of elimination of things that you just do not want in your space anymore. And on the 23rd to the 25th, when everyone's coming at you, tough. You have to hold a firm line. So this is all about gumption, learning to say no. And it's okay not to please the masses kind of days. Thank you, Gemini rising sign, for spending time with your cosmic girl, cruising through the horoscope for September for you. Trust you have a wonderful month. If you would like to work one on one with me, I can be reached at the email being cosmicgirl101 at protonmail.com. Till next time, Gemini rising signs, stay cosmic.